Hello, a wonderful morning to you, my great students. It's a pleasure to have you here today. I also appeal to you, please sit down quietly, get your writing materials, and let's start the class. Today we're considering elements of poetry. Elements of poetry. And my name remains Dr. Odimoloye. In the last class, we considered elements of drama, but today we are considering this unique topic. Let's run through our learning objectives very fast. Number one, at the end of the class, you're able to recall all that was taught about elements of drama in the last class. You're able to recall them because we have some similar elements in poetry that are also in drama. You should be able to state some elements of poetry. Number three, you should be able to explain these elements. And number four, you should be able to state the importance of these elements to poetry work. The same way, elements are very essential and crucial to drama. They are also essential and crucial to poetry. Let's do a brief revision of our last class. Last class I gave you this assignment. I said you should work on the following elements of drama. I gave you some in class. I told you to work on the others, research them. Monologue, I said, is a speech given by a single character in a story. That is when a single person acts all the roles of others. He stands and narrates. Let me say it that way. He stands and narrates everybody's part in a play. The suspense is that intense feeling that an audience goes through while waiting for the outcome of certain events. It's that anxiety that surrounds some certain actions in drama, and you want to go further and know what will happen next. You are so eager. You are anxious to know what is going to happen next. Then resolution is when conflict is finally resolved. I said is the part of the story plot where the main problem is resolved and worked out. Every work of art has a conflict, except it is poetry. Every drama, every prose has a conflict. And the stage of the resolution is the end stage of the work. And that stage is when all conflicts are resolved. That stage is called resolution or denouement. Resolution or denouement. Then number four is projection. This is used to see into the future. You see the future and emphasize the consequence of your present action. It's really used in drama. What it does is that they project you to the future. You see the consequence of the present action, and that debars you or encourages you to do it or not. The soliloquy is when you speak to yourself aloud. You communicate your thoughts aloud on stage. And when that is done, your audience can only hear you. Other people in the play with you, other actors and actresses cannot hear your thoughts. Only the audience can hear your loud thoughts on stage. Yeah. Let's have the snap test before I go into the main topic for the day. Discuss any 5 elements of drama. Then states how important these elements are to drama. You have 5 minutes to write on this. 5 minutes to write on this. Your time starts now. I'm still with you in class. I'm monitoring your time. You've spent almost a minute. And this has to be done so that I am sure I have not been speaking Latin or rapping all this while in class. I want to be sure somebody's getting me. What is getting me? And at the end of class, you send your answers to my email at dakpo.odimoloye@Greenland or greenlandall.org. You send your answers to me. While you continue, you can give it a pause. Yes, you can pause now while I go into the class. Then after the class, 30 minutes latest after the class, I want all assignments, all class, all snap tests answers sent to me. Anything more than 30 minutes, forget it, I won't mark it. I will record 0 for you. Mind you, I'll be awarding score for my best students at the end of this program. Yes, I've said this. You send this to my mail. The mail is better written here. So you can always, and no later than 30 minutes after the class, you must send your answers. Yeah, first on the list is imagery. This is the first element of poetry we are considering. And what happens there is that the poet, anybody who writes a poem is a poet. The poet uses words to create image in the mind of the reader. It uses figurative and metaphoric language to create image and improve the reader's experience through their senses. It can be sense of touch, it can be sense of feelings, it can be sense of taste, it can be an oratory sense. The poet tries to create an image of what he's trying to do. Let's see what one here, image using visual. The night was black as ever, but bright star lit up the sky in beautiful and varied constellation, which were sprinkled across the astronomical landscape. This example, the night is painted black, and you can imagine that picture in your mind. Black and bright. When something is black and bright, you want to imagine how you can. I'm sure that's going through your mind already. That is imagery for you. And here it has different types. It can be that of auditory, which has to do with sound, what you hear, then visual, what you see, then this has to do with what you smell, what you taste and smell. Then this has to do with what you taste. That has to do with your smell. Then this has to do with your sense of what you can smell. This is what you can touch. Let me come again. What you can touch, what you can taste, and what you can smell. So imagery appeals to us using these 5 parameters. And we have diction. This is your choice of words. This applies to poetry, prose, and drama. Your choice of diction, your choice of words, and style of expression matters a lot. You can try to write your own in a sonnet form, in a limerick form, in an ode form, and different forms. Then the caliber of words you use determine your diction. You can try to go complicated or move on the simple choice of words. And for what I know about poetry uses condensed language. That is, a language that can evoke feelings, that can make you feel part of the poem. And here you have 3 types of diction. You can be jargons, which is common to literary works. Idioms is particular to poetry. Poetry makes use of lots of idioms and figurative expressions. They have dialects that can be so local and secluded to your small community. Then we have the rhyme, which is the repetition of same sound, repeating same sound or similar sounds in 1 or 2 words. Repeat same sounds in 1 or 2 words. And at times they happen at the end. Some happen at the end, some happen at the middle. Let's say that of the end. Middle, end, and likes. Twinkle, twinkle. Repeating twinkle. Little star, how I wonder what you are. Twinkle, twinkle. Here we have twinkle, twinkle repeated here. There's rhyme here which has to do with tinkle, twinkle. This is a common poem that is as old as Methuselah. Then we have the rhyme scheme. This discusses the pattern of rhyme that comes at the end of each verse. This has to do with how words rhyme at the end. This deals with end rhyme, not internal rhyme, end rhyme. And this, let me use the word calculates. It calculates the manner of rhyme at the end of each word, at the end of each line of poetry. Let's see an example now. This is a common poem we have all gone through in class, except SS1 students. Shall I compare it to A Summer's Day by William Shakespeare? We are concentrating at the rhyming words at the end of each line. Day here, May here, that makes it A. Then temperature, date here, that shows BB. This cannot rhyme with this. This can rhyme with this, but in this context, it is not. So let's say this is day, this is May here, second line, that will be AA. But because it's a new rhyme, here, that's why it is having B. Then shine, a rhyme on its own. Dimmed, a rhyme on its own, it's having D. Then declines here rhymes with shines, it's going to take C. Untrimmed, dimmed, they rhyme together, they will take D, this one will take D. Then fade here is a new rhyme, take E. Ost here is a new rhyme, also, take F. But shade here rhymes with fade here, so take E. And grossed here rhymes with host here, so take F. And lastly, CD. They go together, they rhyme. So we have G. Yeah. So I would advise you look for 2 or more poems that you can work on yourself to test your knowledge of this rhyme scheme. Very important. I come again, day here does not rhyme with this, so if you take A, so we'll take B. But because May here rhymes with day, if you take A. If that May is here, yes, if it is here, this one will be A, not C. So please look for your poem on your own to calculate this and experiment with this on your own. Now we also have the rhythm. This has to do with pattern of stress and unstressed beats in poetry. That's what at times we use and for it to calculate the pattern of stress and unstressed beat, and they are analyzed through lines, number of lines in a verse. The next 2 number of lines in a verse. Then we have the example here. There was an old man from Peru. Da doom, da da doom, da da doom. Here, the number of doom here shows the rhythm in it. Who dreamt he was eating his shoe? Da doom, da da doom, da da doom. The number of doom here, the doom is calculated as a rhyme, as a rhythm, and that determines the arrangement of stressed and unstressed syllable in a pattern. I'm going to go through this topic, through this one as a topic on its own, because it's a wide topic. I'll go through it on its own. We have the Shakespearean, the Trochean, and stuff like that you have to learn on its own. Then we have the verse. Verse is in short, it's a single line of poetry. It's that line of poetry. At times it can be the compilation of a line. And some people mistake verse for stanza. But for your class, it's a line of poetry, and can also be a group of lines. And you can see them, and this is a verse, this is verse 1, this is verse 2. If you go to our in-book, yes, our SOP, you all know what a verse is in our SOP. The collection of lines is a verse. Then we have the stanza. The stanza is the divisions we have in poetry, how the lines are divided and grouped. How they are divided and grouped. And this is equal and similar to paragraphs in prose. That is, paragraph is to prose, stanza is to what? Is to poetry. And all these elements, these lines, they find a way to connect. They find ways to connect in poetry. Then you can see an example of a stanza now. Stanza 1 and stanza 2. And I told you they are often called verse. They are mistakenly called verse at times. They are called verse. Then we have the rhyme and meter. I want to go deep into this. This should be linked with the last one I did before, stanza and verse. But I will advise that you work on this by yourself against my next class. My next class will be focused on this. I'll be focusing my next class on this. This types of rhyme and meter. Please, on your own, try and do something about it. And I'll be going deep into it in my next class. Then we have the meter. Meter has to do with stressed and unstressed syllabic pattern in a verse. I told you it's linked with rhythm. So it has to do with the number of stress and unstressed pattern in a verse. It has a way whereby we calculate them, and it has different types. Like we have here, we have the iambic pentameter, we have the spondic pentameter, and the likes. Then we have the foots. The foots is how words are measured. How words are measured in poetry. These are all linked with meter and rhyme and rhythm. And it has some symbols for doing that. I'm going to go deep into this next week at a topic on its own. And the combination of the foots in poetry creates meter. When you combine foots in poetry, that creates meter. That is, a foot is the formative unit of the meter. Then we have the poetic foots. In short, it is a repeated sequence of rhyme comprised of two or more stressed or unstressed syllables. Get ready for next class. Our advice for next class: eat very well and be ready to comprehend some poetic jargons. I will call them poetic jargons because it's only peculiar to poetry. The symbol, it has to do with associating words with some vivid literary images. That is, it consists of several layers of meaning. That is, often concealed at first sight. We associate words with some vivid symbols around. Like now, let's say this. Time is money. Time is being associated here with money. We all know we can't spend money anyhow. That means money is precious. That is, time is precious. Life is a roller coaster. Life rolls. Roller coaster goes. That means life is not stagnant. It's not static. Here, words are being associated with vivid pictures. My mom is my rock. You know how a rock walks. A rock shields. And a rock is strong. When your mom is your rock, that means she is strong and she shields you. This is a vivid use of symbolism in poetry. Then in conclusion, I want to appeal to you to please note that element of poetry is the only factor that distinguishes poetry from other forms of literature. That's one. It also makes literature unique, poetry unique and emotional. I told you, poetry is the most complicated part of literature. It's very emotional and it requires you putting your feelings into what you're reading or listening to. Then only element of literature can give coherence and meaning to poetry. That's the only thing that gives coherence and meaning to poetry. Before next class, please lay your hands on this reference material and study them. They are definitely going to boost your knowledge of poetry and the elements. And definitely, all I've promised to teach in next class, you can get them easily from this reference material. So please and please, let's try and study them against next class. Then for my assignments, all these are types of poetry and elements. Yes, couplet is a poem of 2 lines. Triplets, I'm not going to say that. Country, go and get their meanings for me against next class. Till we see again next class, I want to say a big thank you to you for coming. God bless you. Stay blessed and keep studying. I love you all.